There's a coconut on my stoop. What on earth shall I do? I thought they were from the hood, but it seems I misunderstood. It's like they're white on the inside, but are really brown on the outside. There's a coconut on my stoop, and I don't know if that is good.
Hi, I'm Queen Alita. This is my sister Yule and my other sister Mbali. Yes, we have the same parents, even though we don't exactly look alike, I think. Ne? Yeah,
We
I don't
don't
know.
look alike.
Yeah. Anyway, so welcome to our podcast. There's a coconut on my stoop. This is our first episode, guys. We're so excited to do this. And we're really just here to share our stories and our experiences just as quote unquote coconuts. And really how we should respond in these situations where we find ourselves being labeled that way or experiencing coconutism, if I can put it that way. Just, learning how to respond as followers of Christ to those different scenarios. So I think I just want to start off by asking, what's a coconut? What is a coconut?
Look, that's a really good question. I mean, over the years, I've got my own definition in my mind of what a coconut is. But I think for the longest of time, in my mind, it's being labeled not being able to speak a language, an African language, correctly or pronounce correctly the different African languages that one might speak. I've attempted to speak the different languages, Pedi, Zulu, Ndebele, and every now and then I clutch or make a mistake, and it's seen as a problem to people. And I think people think because of that, and because I pronounce eloquently, if you might say, people take that as okay, so you think you're better than us. So a coconut, in my definition, according to what I feel people think, is that coconuts feel like they're better than the rest of the world. They're better than their cultural context of where they come from.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
That's cool. I think for me, so it comes from the fruit, right? That's brown on the outside, white on the inside, right? And it's exactly that. So because or coconut grows up in a socio-economic situation that reflects more of whiteness, even though you are black. So things that are more white.
Western,
so listening to Avril Lavigne and, stuff
out.
Why you gonna make things? Exactly.
Yeah.
And being able to eat certain seafoods or certain just random things that are more associated with white culture than they are with black culture, at least in the South African context.
Yeah.
So, for me, that is what a coconut is. Someone that is very crosses those cultural and just life boundaries. Those color race boundaries a little bit.
Yeah.
Of what you should be.
Of what you should be.
Sure, you guys really defined that. I have nothing to add. I was just going to say white on the inside, brown on the outside, and keep it moving. But I totally agree. I think it's a very broad term, and I think it has its negative connotations and its positive connotations. So I'm gonna, pick at your brains more. Is this something that you guys embrace? Is being a coconut something that you would embrace?
I would say yes. I think I have, especially later on, now in my life, I've just been you know what, yes, I'm a coconut.
Yeah.
It is a subgroup of people in South Africa. It's just my existence, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't have to, I don't need to prescribe to something that other people say I must.
Okay.
Which I think is, for a long time, I felt that way.
Yeah.
Just in black circles, needing to be extra black, needing to,
Code
go full on Zulu or,
Yeah.
something, even though I'm fighting for my life.
I know.
Trying to speak Zulu. And then on the other side, being like Lani and, trying to be with my white counterparts and try to do those things, right? So I think for me, it's like I exist as a coconut.
Exist.
So I accept it. That's that.
Yeah. And the reason I'm asking before you answer,
Yes.
Yule, is because, I found a definition online that was negative. And I've never really thought about what I think. I'm just like, oh, I'm a coconut, but I've never sat down to think, what does that actually mean? So that's the context as to why I'm asking. So what's your response to that?
Yeah, when you speak about the definition, I think the word coconut has evolved, and when it first started, and from what I know about it and my experience, is that it was negative.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, there's a coconut, in the same way that people call cheese boys,
Yeah.
or he's a cheese boy. And it's also and it was majority defining the minority at the time of when the cultural context changed and we were allowed to go into white schools per se, or our parents model C, or our parents just wanted to do the best for us, and in their minds they thought, okay, cool, speak English, study, it's going to get you somewhere, because all the work was in English. So, and it wasn't in our vernacular languages. So we can't fault them for what they try to do. But just to answer your question, I grapple with the concept of coconut, even though I say to myself, just accept it. But the sad thing about accepting the term coconut is what does it actually mean?
Yeah.
Because how I grew up, I went to colleges with white people. My best friends were white, and I wasn't going, okay, that black girl's not my friend, that white girl is my friend.
Exactly.
Yeah, I had black friends, I had white friends, but I found my best friend was someone that was white. And at the time, I wasn't even interested in seeing color. Yes, we studied apartheid, and I understand what was done in apartheid. And here comes my friend Deborah de Cruz. How am I going to hold Deborah to apartheid? How am I going to hold my friend Eden Baker to apartheid when they came from the same type of schools that I came from? They watched MTV. They watched Gem Alley. Like we watched all the shows. So we're not just watching MTV. We watched also the shows that were cultural.
Yeah.
How do I now make it political?
Yeah.
I'm just like, this is how I came out. This is how Deborah came out. We are very similar. We get along because we went through the same. We've got a similar worldview. It's not the exact same worldview, but our worldview is similar in that it was shaped by the schools we went to, shaped by the teachers. It was shaped by experiences shared. It was shaped by the books we read. It was shaped by the TV shows we watched. We watched similar TV shows. So now, when somebody else who didn't have the same experience that I had looks at me, because maybe they spent a little bit longer in what you would call poverty, which was probably due to apartheid, and so they didn't experience what I experienced, and they look at me. Why do they want to put me on a negative back burner?
Exactly.
I will never put you on a negative back burner. We are equal.
Exactly.
So I don't. Because of that, I don't appreciate being called a coconut, because of what comes with being called a coconut.
Yeah.
If it was just innocent, it's not. It's your view of how you see me.
Yes.
And you actually haven't seen me because you don't know who I am and what I'm about.
Yeah.
Sure. And I say that it's so interesting because your experience is so different from mine in terms of growing up.
I love this. Yes, let's hear it.
Just even with my friends, I'm just thinking back into high school and even in primary school, there was always such a hyper-focusedness on
Hey, millennials, hyper-focusedness.
Listen.
Come on, girl.
A dictionary of me.
Okay.
The dictionary of Bali. But yeah, like we're all just, there was always, race was a layer, was a thing. And the way you're talking, it sounds like it wasn't always a thing.
No.
Yeah, no.
Which is crazy
Our age, we just as Nelson Mandela was free, we were going to schools. It wasn't made a thing yet.
That's insane to me, because I mean, I started primary school in 2002. Then high school was 2009.
I don't know.
2002,
I was probably on my
we were in
fifth job by
varsity.
then.
2009.
We were in varsity 2002.
2009. And I just even remember from the get-go, you'd in grade 8, you gravitate towards who you gravitate towards, but then you'd always be like, the white people gravitated towards the white people and the black people gravitated towards the black people. And there was always this undercurrent of even like the ones that had the academic places and the ones that achieved were always the white ones, right? And then when a black girl would achieve something, would celebrate it like it's
but
this
you
is
know
such
what?
a anomaly.
I just need to but I need to say something. Like I think for us, because our colleges, we went to expensive colleges, but when we were actually in school, we myself and Mo, we went to Model C schools, but you didn't. You went to private schools, and private schools, the in my opinion, in private schools, it was expensive. So for a lot of black people to get into those private schools was difficult. So we did have a cultural base of the people that were in our schools were coming from townships and different places. So for us to okay, there's the white people gravitating. She ain't got no white people to gravitate to. It's one white girl. She's gonna come and chill with us. So can you already see how the experience was different from us? So we didn't see that until today.
It makes me it makes me wonder as well if maybe there was also a layer of classism.
Yes.
In my context as well, which in South Africa means black and white.
Yeah. In this country, it's very clear in terms of color, the classes. I think for me, it's so amazing how even just 2 years in between can make a difference. So when we went to Waverley, there were a lot of white kids in my grade. But I remember in yours, it was like probably just one.
Yes, one or two, you know?
Yeah, but to take it back even more, I think for me, I never experienced racial anything until I was literally in corporate. I was working and, well, not that I experienced it there at work. It was more at the church. So my experience of being a coconut has been very similar to you because I even remember being in our very first, well, it wasn't our first school, but we went to a private school in primary school. Yes, right. And it was majority white people. I remember there was one other black girl in my class. We gravitated towards each other because, I guess, you just gravitate to your
you look the same. A human thing. I think that's a human thing as
well. And there was one colored girl. And she had, it's almost like she was like, I'm just going to chill with you guys because for whatever reason. But she would constantly, and I think when I was that young, I didn't understand that this was a racial thing. She would constantly be like, my skin is lighter than yours, my hair is this, and yours is this. Like, she was constantly comparing. And at that age, I was just like, okay.
What are you talking about?
What are you on about? Like, let's just have fun here, Sure. But that was probably the only time that I experienced those things as a child. Just like you, Le, friends were just friends. You would just make friends. There was no racial undercurrents. It was much later on in life for me as well.
Do you think that, and I know we haven't mentioned this yet, but you guys were born in Zim.
Yeah.
I was born in SA.
Yeah.
Do you think that plays a role in the way, in our racial experiences growing up, how you guys only felt it later, even though you were in SA for a while, you still only really felt it later, whereas for me, I feel like from the get-go, I don't remember life without race.
Wow.
Wow, that's.
I can't even imagine it.
I want to say that's sad.
Yeah.
But I want to say that's sad, but also it's not sad because you can grow and learn from it. Yeah. But I'm saying it's sad in the context because this is the world now.
Yeah,
and
it's
not,
sad
a lot of people
also,
are coming through with that experience. You're coming out and it is your worldview and it is how you must now master the world and form your own opinions about the world.
But I want to add why else it's sad. Like I know for me personally, it's like, have I been living in Dulu land all this time, thinking that everybody loves me, we all love each other?
No, listen.
No,
but wait.
There are people who look at you and say, "Oh, you're black."
Sometimes.
No, but listen. I feel like I am in Dulu land.
Yeah.
Because everybody seems to be on the tip that you're on.
Yes.
And I'm like, am I the only one in Dulu land? Me and my friends that we all grew up with, because now we're starting to feel like it's a niche group of people that's in Dulu land. Then everyone else is like, wake up, can't you see the cultural thing that's happening? Even you speak about Zim. Zim went through what they went through and they kicked the white people out. That's what they did. So it does feel like we're delusional. And for someone else, they'll look at us and be like, wake up. No, I am awake. But for the longest time, the question that you asked, when I was in primary school, the gospel was presented to me, the gospel of Jesus Christ. And God loves everybody. We are all the same under God's eye. That's what I knew, and it's what I know, and I didn't deviate from that. It became a deep-rooted truth within me.
Yeah.
So when I saw someone, that's how I approached them. And just like Alita, we had the same experience in corporate. When I was sitting in a board meeting, I had come up with this amazing idea, and the boss was like, "Okay, you can come with me." I thought I wasn't scheduled to go to that meeting, but I feel like because I came up with the idea, I got to go with him. And in the room, it was a boardroom, and it was filled with white males. I was the only one there, and sadly, I wasn't dressed for the part because I didn't know I was going into a meeting.
Yeah.
But your dress code back in the day, let's just reflect. But anyway, sorry, let's go back.
Don't put
Let's
a photo.
focus.
That's very true.
Hilarious.
Very, very true.
It's true, yes.
And in this board meeting, the boss presented my idea, which I thought, okay, cool, maybe I'm not ready to present. I could have presented myself. But the guy who answered him or spoke in the meeting, nobody ever made eye contact with me. And that's the first time I felt all kinds of things that I don't even know how to express. I felt like, should I hide? I'm not supposed to be here. And then I started to draw back and like insecure, and like it was rejection. I didn't understand what it was at the time. And then be quiet, Yule. Don't talk, Yule.
Yeah.
Like in that context, when you see white males, when you ever interact with white males, be a certain way with white males. When you're with these type of people, then you can be free. And then that's how it's been. So even when I got different jobs that I went to, when I started to find myself and be like, no, I can speak up. I remember one of my bosses called me and he said, there've been so many complaints against you, but each time we look at the complaints, you were actually never in the wrong.
Wow.
You were always in the right. But he said to himself, but I'm asking myself, why is that?
Yeah, actually, what's at the core? What's at the foundation of all these complaints?
And I'm like, they don't know how to deal with a black girl.
Yeah.
When a black girl who's saying, I've got ideas, I know what I'm doing, and this is who I am. And then the black people that I'm getting beef from, they don't know how to deal with a black girl who's got a
It's
eloquent
that mentality of
accent,
come down to our level. You
who
can't
says
be up there.
who says I am going to challenge the white male. I'm going to challenge the white female. Not to challenge them. I'm challenging them.
Yeah,
No, it could be anyone, but I've got something
to
to say, and I think we could actually bring this idea this way around, or this is how we can do it. And even now, today, even this past week, I experienced the same thing in a work context with another white male. So it's for me, that's my experience.
I'm just saying, I was in HR, so that was my, what can I call it? I had the upper hand. Everybody, like it actually hit me years later that everybody liked me because I was in HR, liked me, quote unquote, liked me. So I never experienced that in the work environment, what you experienced. People would look me in the eye. I was an HR business partner, so I was dealing with the senior managers, majority white male. So that's kind of where the level that I was at. But everybody in the organization would be all smiles, and I'm thinking, people love me.
But no.
Outside of work,
Look at this representation now.
outside of work, I bump into one of these senior managers. This senior manager is one that I was actually probably the closest to because we had a very unique relationship. We would joke together. I thought, me and you were friends. I walked past him in the mall this one time. I see him. I see you see me, Sean. I can see you see me.
Oh, you didn't just name Sean. She didn't just name Sean's name. You're Sean.
I will name
There's
names.
so many Sean's
There are
though.
too many Seans.
Okay.
When you walk past in malls, that's an asterisk on its
I see
own.
you see me. I smile. Hi.
Sean?
I was like, what just happened here? Like, I thought we were here, but it was in the work environment
It's the
where
position you had.
the position that I had. HR hires and fires people is the belief. People don't know that it's actually the managers that hire and fire them. They just think HR does it. So I realized that I was in Dulu land. Like, I was living this in this cloud of everybody likes me because I'm friendly, I'm nice or whatever, but people were still looking at the color of my skin. And I realized
Wait, Mbali, on this
Okay.
point. I had like this white guy checking me out, but he followed me everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Eventually he was just like, he's going to date me, but he's not going to marry me. I was like, okay, let's sip some tea
My
to that.
guy.
Yeah. How about
All
we sip
right.
some tea?
Okay. Thanks.
But
So what is no? But what does that mean? What does it mean?
what's the guy's name? We can ask him.
We'll just call all our guys Sean.
And then
from
you
now
go,
on.
listen, it's Sean. Because I'm like, y'all are gonna look at my Facebook and be like, friends. Yeah, I know. No, but what it means, right? Is I like you, and I think we can gel. But when it comes to marriage, or to something that's more
No,
permanent,
I have to take you to my family.
you have
I
a glass
to present,
ceiling.
Like, people are going to see you.
And what's wrong with it's the same that Sean didn't want you to be seen with you in the mall.
Exactly.
So deep down, you don't want to be seen with me.
Yeah. It's like a racial glass ceiling.
Exactly.
So you are allowed in these parts of my life, but not these parts of my life.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I wanted to ask as well, because you said your sort of like your first sort of racial encounters was like in the office, in the workplace.
Yes.
What was your first almost awakening, I guess, or realization that, oh my gosh, this is a thing, race is a thing?
At church, I was shocked out of my mind. I couldn't believe it.
I'm sorry to
I
laugh.
don't understand how because in my mind,
Sips
I'm at
tea.
church. This is where we're
tea.
supposed to love each other, right? So let me give a quick story. Okay. So I joined, I don't know if we should name church names. Let's just leave them
don't
out
name
for now.
yeah.
Ne? But I joined a church. You were part of the church. And I started going, hey, if people know you and they know what churches you went to, sorry. Anyway, so and I joined the worship team. I think you were also in, no, you were not. It was when they still had the choir. And majority, all the leaders were white, which was fine, no issue. We're here, we're all worshiping Christ together. So during the worship meetings, it was great. They would teach us, we would interact. So I'm thinking we're a team, we're friends, we're buddies. Come church Sunday, right? We'd had our worship practice the Thursday, Sunday. I'm walking in one direction. I can see the main worship leader walking in my direction. I see him see me. Again, Sean 2.0.
Sean.
I see you see me. So I'm smiling and I'm like, hi. Totally ignored me. That was worse than Sean 1.0. Okay?
Bottom line, don't be a Sean.
Sean 1.0 was corporate guy. Maybe I thought, you're just being arrogant or whatever. But in the church, it gutted me. I couldn't believe that my worship leader did not acknowledge me, didn't say hi to me, even though he had seen me. Like, you walk towards people all the time. People can say, maybe he didn't see you. But I'm like, I do this all the time. And we say hi to each other. You know, if it was you and me, we would say hi to each other.
Yeah.
And the penny dropped for me when I saw an interaction between his child, I think his child was about 7 years old at the time, with a black little boy. And the racial things this child was saying, so derogatory, I was like...
Yeah, the
children
kids
don't have
exposed them.
filters, right?
Yeah, that's when the penny dropped that, that was a racial thing. Even in the moment, I didn't realize it was a racial thing. I just was hurt. And now I'm like, it's a racial thing. This guy just doesn't... I assumed, based on what his child said, he does not like black folks. And it was gutting. It really gutted me because it was a church. You don't expect that. That was my...
And I think I've also been through a lot of racial undertones within church. And the thing is the saddest thing about it is, sorry to say this, white people don't realize when they're being racist.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
Their hearts, and I know for sure their hearts does not come from a bad place.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's got to do with,
Most of the
like
time.
I said, upbringing, worldview.
Most
you know what I'm
of the
saying?
time.
Like, and I do it sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. If I'm in the car and there's two black guys that are coming close to the car, and they look, I roll my windows up.
I'm not gonna lie, I do the same.
So it's that same mentality.
But I started doing it with white folk just to balance it out.
Yeah.
There's a white guy. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, but it's a change of mind that's needed all
white
round
guy is walking?
to every single person. Because guys, I've been through so much at the church in terms of this racial undertone, but I know what God has called me to. So I have to keep just moving. I have to keep moving. I remember the one time specifically in the front, because I was part of the leadership team, the Elders Plus they used to call it. And I remember during a conference there was this one lady and she needed help. So I went to pray because there wasn't enough hands. So, and it's a conference, it's a lot of churches, but from the same denomination. So I went and I started praying for her. And then the Holy Spirit said something specific to me. And I prayed that specific thing. Then she started to manifest a demon.
Sure.
So I was like, yo, demon manifesting. Okay, I was a little bit, I
Yeah,
won't
no.
lie. But I was like, I got this, but I was a little bit like, I need reinforcement. So I looked up to someone that looked like from the church, 2 people, and I called them to come over. They were from that church. Yeah? And then they looked at me and then they pushed me away. And then they carried on praying for her. And
Oh, as in we'll take it from here. You don't know what you're doing.
yes. And we don't know you.
Oh.
We don't know. Listen, I've stood at a coffee.
That makes me mad.
I've stood at a church coffee shop, ne? A church coffee shop with white boys, white males, ne?
Yeah.
And again, I find myself in the context where, because of my calling, what God has called me for, I'm the only black female there, and it's a youth context. The church pastor, we like this. There's 4 of us. The church pastor comes, shakes hands, shakes number 2's hands, shakes Sean's 1's hands. Sean 2, Sean 3, and then walks past me. And I had put my hand out. It was the most embarrassing thing. I just read. Don't let the
enemy know your next move.
I was just keeping the enemy on. Exactly. And it's difficult because you have to be deep rooted in the word, because now you've got to operate from a place where you know you're going to face rejection. And it's difficult for you to do your gift. You know, sometimes it gets so tiring, you get so drained, but you know there's a mission at hand. Sometimes I fail, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I'm just like, I'm not, God, don't be whispering no words in my ear to go share up in the front. Don't do it, God. Don't do it. I sing louder.
I don't want to fight right now. I should. Sure.
So I want to bring it now to Christ, because as I'm sitting here listening, I just got this thought of for example, I've been sidelined a lot in certain churches, and I've been to a lot of churches, different denominations. We started off at Rhema, we did SDA at some point.
Yes.
So I've had many different experiences. But
That was fun.
as you're speaking, I just realized that by doing what they're doing, sidelining people based on the color of their skin, they're not living up to the image of the body of Christ, the different body parts working together, because you literally could be sidelining the arm right now. And you think you're just going to make up an arm. Like a prosthetic arm doesn't do what an arm that God created does. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like, are these people actually living by the leading of the Holy Spirit?
The wisdom of man is
Yeah.
what's going to fail churches.
Yes.
Because the wisdom of God is completely different.
Yeah.
The wisdom of man will tell you that someone from Malawi with a Malawian accent can't come in and speak here to a church in Sandton or fooled with white people. They're not going to understand what he's saying. The wisdom of man
I hear you, and
will tell you that
Yeah.
way that person is dressing, the congregation won't get them, and they'll be like, "What's going on here?" The wisdom of man will tell you that
The black person
culturally,
must sing
what they're
Ageko.
doing, and the cultural song and the cultural track you've chosen is not gonna go down here, you know, and it's difficult because it's it's difficult because when you're running a church, and I've never run a church before, but listen to me. When
you are running a church
you're
from someone who's
responsible.
never run a church.
Yes, you're you're responsible for so many aspects. You're responsible for a entire congregation, and cultures of the day change.
Yeah.
The church has changed its face according to the culture of the day. This is what history has proven.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
It shouldn't. Yes, there's different. Someone will say something like, "Okay, guys, so in this age, you can't say this." It's not in the Bible, but it's a good idea for those people in that context at that time.
Yes.
That thing
Hence
will carry
the letters,
on
hence
for
the
a long
letters
time.
Paul wrote,
Exactly.
right?
That
They
thing
were all
will-
different contexts
Yes.
for the churches.
Exactly.
That thing will carry on for a long time without people going, "Okay, wait, no."
Yeah.
So what is the church tasked with? The church is tasked with a new commandment I give unto you, that you love one another as I have
That's
loved
the
you.
first thing.
By this shall people know, all people.
This shall all men know that you are my disciples.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Yes.
When a song comes, I have to.
By this people will know that you're a disciple of God. It's like, how do you know that I'm a disciple of God? So when you speak about love, you speak about 1 Corinthians 13. And it says love is not self-serving. Love does not look out for its
self-seeking,
own.
man.
So I know I have to, and for the longest of time, guys, and this is not just about white people, because I've also been to black churches in the longest time, I have been trying to bridge the gap between the two churches.
Yeah.
And because I feel I've got a calling upon it. So, and then for the longest time, it's like, okay, cool. Guys, our mission, the church should be at the forefront of building cultural gaps.
It should set the tone.
Because set the tone because it can only this
ground in cultural
people are so different
stuff.
and people have so many stereotypes, and so do I. So this mission can only be done by the gospel and nothing else. Because even how I've been brought up, I've got different ways, even though I sometimes I can't see it, of the way I status people. I do. And the only way to combat that is Jesus Christ. But don't go past as if it doesn't exist. No, we're busy feeding the poor, we're busy this and that. You can have a ministry where we're busy focusing on bridging the cultural gap. Because that's how people will know that we are the disciples of God.
And this is why the body is so important, because as you said, each and every single one of us, everyone has their own worldview and will come in with their own cultural worldview. That's why you need the body. You can't say this one's worldview, I'm going to listen to it more than this other one's worldview because this other person doesn't speak English properly. Or this other person doesn't run in the same circles as I run, or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, because people are missing their destinies because of prejudice, because they're not. Prejudice. Right. They're closing themselves off to something new and something different, and
it's got too much risks.
Yeah, true.
Of course,
and one of those risks is financial.
Oh, of course. Oh, it's the financial risk.
It's got too much risk because you could segregate other people and you don't want to segregate so and so. So and so must come into the image and the gospel of Christ and what that stands for, which is at the forefront, loving people. So and so must realize if you don't, you're also not helping so and so because you're not letting them grow out of the shell to be like, okay, wait a minute, what am I missing here? I'm missing that the gospel is sacrifice. I'm missing that I need to align my life. I need to be uncomfortable. And that's why Christ asked, can you drink this cup? This cup?
It is a tough one. Because there's even a layer right now that I'm thinking of that I discovered the other day. So in my current church, right, there's been a decline.
I was about to say where all the white people are leaving.
Yes, there's been a decline in white folk. Ne? So, and we've sort of, so our worship is very mixed, right?
Yes,
we sing vernac a lot, we sing English a lot, we even sing Afrikaans. But then we sort of like sitting and trying to like brainstorm why are white people leaving, right? So it's the first option is that obviously after COVID, the Great Migration to Cape Town happened. So that was one. But then two, it's not as white anymore, the church, because of the integration of so much
cultures.
And it makes me think how.
So why can't they coexist?
This is the possibly the fear of these church leaders, right? Is that they're white, they know their fellow white congregants that they won't stay when you cross over a sort of line or threshold into integration, racially, culturally, whatever. But so it presents almost another problem of. What's wrong with white folk?
and wait. I'm coming to the defense of white folk. Wait, can I come to the defense of white folk? I'm not defending them, but I'm talking about a mindset. And I think I've also got a similar mindset. If I'm looking at a school to take my kids to...
I don't know if I'll ever get a word in edgewise here, but yes.
Sorry. I'm talking a lot. I talk a lot.
Go.
If I'm looking at a school to take my kids at net... And if I look at a school where it's majority white people, then you get a mixed school. Half, or maybe 60 white, 40 black, ne? And then you get all black, ne? And one white person. Like, what school am I taking my kid to?
No, this is funny.
No, but listen to me. You're going to take your kid to the school with the 60...
No, guys, I actually went through this because I applied at these two, ne? More white. I was like, my kids are going to have rejection problems.
The 60 white people and the 40...
The one 100% white, I was like, probably one person.
No, you're not going to take
I was like, my kids will have rejection. That's my mind.
Yeah.
But can you see that I'm already putting stuff that maybe isn't.
That maybe isn't.
It's the way
But
the human
based on
condition
experience,
is.
right? The body keeps the score, is what I've learned recently.
And it also, yes.
Your defenses go up because you're like, it's a beautiful school, it's great, my child will have a different cultural experience, but they're alone.
Yes, they're alone, and I feel
Outnumbered.
I feel like
so let me go to the 60-40
yes,
school.
and because of the cultural standing of this day, you've got a lot of parents complaining about South Africa that the ANC is messing up.
Yeah.
So now they probably the
Can I
kids
just
have heard
pause?
them.
Can I just say South Africans are very negative about our country? Can we start speaking positively so we can see change?
Yes.
Unpause, go.
But now the kids probably heard that, so that's also what's making me afraid that they're going to look at my kids like there's the blacks. Now the one with 60-40, I'm going, okay, I'm going to take my child there, not to the one that's predominantly black, because of the score you spoke about. So in my dealings with black folk, and it's not their fault, guys, work ethic. I'm not joking.
But they need to be taught
most
as
of the
well
time. Most of
in
the
their
time
defense.
is and it comes down to wealth and money that's been passed down by apartheid. So if you're looking at a church with predominantly black people, a white person is thinking, I have to carry that church. Now, when it comes to tithe, and when it comes to it's the white people putting more. Now, when it comes
that
to
white person should be thinking Christ is going to carry this church.
so
Come on
now when it comes to black folk in Alex, bruh, when we're in Alex, bruh, it's like it's like the Book of Acts. In Alex, you're taking out groceries, bruh. You're helping someone else.
what the mandate is.
And you also know when you want help, someone's going to bring, and no one is going to be asking you about what's happening that you don't have money. What are you doing wrong? Because we understand our cultural context, right? So when you go to a white church, I remember this one white leader, and from back in the day, and he was like, no, these guys are just opportunistic, and they just want they bread buttered for them, and some of them
has some
did
truth in it. Yeah,
some
that
of them
has
did,
truth in it.
but
There is
others
some
didn't.
sense.
So
Yeah.
it's
rough,
the
man.
balance is so rough. So what does Christ say? Because he's the one that can fix this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Because
would've
there's
been my
that
next
that
question,
whole
yeah.
principality of entitlement as well
Yes.
in the townships. That was a very strong principality I felt in the whole area of you should be doing this for us. You should be going out of your way to open these doors and opportunities
me
for
up
us.
because I
You
can't
must
get there. I have
pick
to
me
catch
up.
a taxi.
And it's like, while we're doing these things, these projects that we used to do, we are also lifting. Like we are also trying to get ourselves somewhere. We can't carry you.
Yes, it's like there's only so much.
can
We're
I-
not rich. So
can I
there's only
share a
so much
story?
that we have.
No, let
Yes.
me not share that story. It's
Share,
fine.
share,
Okay.
share.
Okay.
Don't use names.
No
Yeah,
names,
yeah.
obviously. But the time when we did a certain project the album, we did an album, and people wanted the spotlight. Like they wanted their names on things. They wanted to be in the studio recording the songs. They wanted their vocals on there. Get to the studio, and these are people from that church, from the township church. Get to the studio, nobody's ready. They're choking up at the mic because they haven't practiced at home, because someone has to do it for me. I can only bring you this far, babes. Now I can't sing for you. I can't do this and that for you. And then it's huffing and puffing when your name is not on the thing.
Yeah,
But
and
you
also,
didn't do anything.
Yes, and also it's a mentality because listen, I practice hard, right?
Yes.
I got to the studio. This one song was not working for me.
Yeah.
The studio guy told me, he's like, no, listen, ne?
It's not
I
working,
walked
it's not working.
out because you understand it is a whole project. I didn't walk out as in I'm leaving.
I was about to be like,
no,
you did
not
what?
that I walk out,
I'm
but I
leaving,
stepped
Mary.
aside. I stepped aside to let a better vocalist, even though I practiced. I stepped aside, and I stepped aside with a good heart, because this is not entitlement. This is the kingdom of God.
Exactly.
So this is the sacrifices I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But you don't carry it into like a racial thing or racial undertone. So I think both
But
sides
there was
have a lot
class.
to
Then
do
how
with
do
it.
we
class thing.
begin to start bridging these gaps? Because they
Yeah,
are
what
big
are the
gaps.
solutions? Like how do
There
we
are
actually
big gaps within the mentality of the way white folk think, and within the mentality and the way black folk think.
and
I want to
everybody in
talk. I want
between?
to answer, but I've been talking too much. So somebody else.
No, you have opinions. I mean, the thing is, it's a question. Like,
like
what
you
are the
have
solutions?
No, it's not a solution. It's a comment. Like I was watching the Hillsong documentary with Carl Lenz.
Yeah.
And the black folk were complaining at Hillsong that he didn't see them. None of them were in position of leadership, whether it's worship or whatever. They just didn't make it into this
Familiar
position.
story.
And the thing is, in my opinion, it's easier for me to understand you, because we the same color. So I'll say, Mo, go lead worship, but I can't do that, because when Jesus was choosing when God was choosing a person to lead the nation of Israel, when they wanted a king,
He chose David.
He chose David who was out
the
in the
little
field.
guy.
They went through no, he looks strong. No, he looks that. No, the guy that's outside. So it's a thing. How we bridge the gap is just listen to the Holy Spirit and know how to differentiate whether it's your worldview. We are all in the same boat here. Yeah. Is it my worldview or is it the Holy Spirit?
This is the thing that's lacking. Nobody is asking God, what's the direction? What are we doing? How should we be moving forward?
And
it's
I was trying to add to that.
It's egos.
So in asking God, this generation, churches go through phases. I feel like the phase of this generation, these generations, is to go, okay, so if someone says the same thing, if this is in place, if that is in that and that is in place, there's 5 things list, then it's aligned to what God is saying.
Okay.
And sometimes
is
I
that
think
the fivefold ministry or just
not the
certain
fivefold.
things?
Like let's say if someone else comes and says, "Oh, I felt this word," it's a confirmation.
Oh, okay.
And then you wait, then it's a confirmation. So these 5 rules, even though they are very helpful rules, are not the end and set in stone.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to hope and believe God for miracles that God can say with an audible voice.
Yeah.
We need to believe that God can do something miraculous to be like, okay, that's the guy. Yeah. We need to believe that we can draw ourselves out from the crowd because there's too many voices and take ourselves out. Even if you're taking yourself out for a month and come back with like, God says this is the person. Yeah. And everybody else is disagreeing because that's how the gospel has been. If you look at all the
God
said
so Jesus was the person, and look at the opposition he had from the very people he was sent to.
Yes.
He was not embraced.
So we don't. It repeats itself. There's so many people saying no, 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 but it's actually the way that you would never see a new thing. The way the churches have built themselves today, it's built like a ship that runs smoothly. Yeah. A new thing disrupts what's going on.
It means change.
A new thing. You see people are leaving. A new thing. There'll be only 12 disciples standing.
Yeah.
A new thing. It's like someone is getting crucified if it's a new thing. You know what I mean? A new thing.
Death has to happen for a new thing.
A new thing. God makes a road in the desert where there was no road.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah.
God makes a road in the desert where there was no road, but you're still going on the same road. Instead of like, oh, there wasn't anything here, but now there's something here. Yes. But we get these words. Oh yes, God is doing a new thing. Do your new thing, God. But a new thing is hectic to everybody.
Exactly.
But I think
hectic.
That's the dulu the church is under, right? Because we hear this exact message every single year at the conferences, right? That it's a new thing, that we need to be breaking these barriers. This exact conversation is happening on a pulpit, right? With the congregation. But then every year we're still going on the same road. People are still...
The formula works, it's comfortable. The formula works,
exactly.
Why should we change it?
So, yeah.
And who wants to be the man that's leading people through this change? You're getting crucified.
Yeah.
Somewhere, somehow.
All I'm saying is people are not afraid of God.
The fear of the Lord.
The fear of the Lord is scarce these days. So, do we want to conclude the episode now?
Let's do it.
I think so, hey?
Yeah. As we conclude the drink.
As the leader, I'm the one.
Yeah, we're looking at you like...
yeah, I think we've thrown out a lot of ideas, and like I said at the beginning.
Wait, before you conclude. Yes. Sorry, I actually wanted to mention this. Yes. I when Mbali asked the question, and then I went on a tangent like I always do.
Yes.
But Mbali spoke about what's the solution. The solution is Jesus, but the solution is conversation.
It's conversation.
So I hope that no one will feel condemned by this, because it's not what it's meant to be, because I've got a worldview that also needs to change.
Yeah, we all have work to do here, folks.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the more we deal with each other, and the more we allow, what was beautiful about that album that we made, is that because we were so different, there was friction. Beautiful stuff.
That's what's needed.
Beautiful stuff. Yeah. Because that friction wouldn't have been there if we didn't embark on such a project.
Yeah.
These other projects we do are safe, where you won't see what's deep inside.
Yeah. Surface level stuff.
Yes, friction causes you to, who are you? Then we see who you are. Who I am is, I don't like the fact that you're a coconut. I don't like the fact that you think you're better than what way do I think that I'm better than myself? Let's talk about these things.
Yes, let's talk about
Yes.
like why
Maybe-
do I come across
yes.
that way? Is it
So,
what I
yeah.
say? Is it the
Yes.
way I speak?
Well, you don't give
Which
us a
was
chance
the
to
step
speak.
that wasn't taken within the certain project, right?
Yes,
Was
yeah.
the conversation part.
No, we did the conversation in that project with
We
Umpo.
did?
We did. I
Okay.
made sure that conversation went, but it was very. It was very. It was
With
all out
everyone.
there. Yes, I remember in the venue. It was all out there.
Was it fruitful?
That's the thing. It was all out. No, listen, time was on our side.
If I was there, was
So
it?
we were all out there, and we prayed with each other, and but it needed.
Remember, it's coming back.
Yes.
All coming back.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
We
sorry.
did have that conversation. We facilitated that conversation, but I think we needed more people to carry us in that conversation. It needed to be a thing that's part of a ministry that gets
A
spoken
ministry.
about,
It
that
has
carries
to be a
on.
whole
On one time
ministry.
event, we all prayed and we all asked for forgiveness and we forgave each other for the way
Yes.
the different things that
Yes, I
happened.
remember this now.
But it needs to be an ongoing thing. It won't change overnight.
Yeah,
You're
we
changing
have
a
to
thought
keep
pattern.
meeting. We have to keep having a
Yes.
conversation until
And
we see real change.
And also, black people, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't like, I'm not taking part. The fight is too hard, which is what black people do. Black people draw back.
The
They
fight
follow
is hard.
and they draw back because the fight is hard.
I think
But
the fight
if you-
is also hard because just going back to your story within the boardroom and the
Yes.
white people not looking at you, we're also fighting that. We're also fighting now having to
Yes.
find value within ourselves. So there's that layer, and then we have to
Yes.
come to the front of the fight and do
Yeah.
it. So it is hard,
And
but
then,
we need to
because
do
many
it.
times you walk out of there going, oh, they probably think I'm an idiot. And they
Yeah.
probably think I'm this person, they'll never use me for ministry. There's so much that goes in your mind.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking, but we need to remember what we were called for. And there's an audience of one. It's Jesus. As long as you've done the task, and we speak to each other in love, we address in love, and as long as you've done that task, it doesn't matter what anything. You see, the devil's got us in a chokehold with what
I was
people
about to say, there's
with
also,
what-
they're also
with what
fighting
people
the
think
devil.
Also
about
fighting
us.
the devil.
What
Yeah.
people think about us, can
Oh, no.
cripple.
Like it can cripple
everything.
you. Like I'm
Yes.
starting to tell myself, don't even worry about what people think. But the way I've done it is to minimize my ego, because that's what it is. At
Yeah,
the end
it's
of the
our
day, it's
pride.
the ego. It's like I have to put on this facade or whatever it is, whether you do it consciously or subconsciously. But I've started to literally recite verses when I'm in certain circles, and I'm like, you know what? You are dust, you are wind, you are vapor. You are literally nothing. And when I do that, I've become more free. Because when you tell yourself, okay, they're gonna feel me, I'm somebody, I'm black and I'm strong and
But
they're gonna
you know,
feel
I'm
me.
not
Do you know what I'm
anybody.
saying?
My
But
life
if I
is hidden
tell
in
myself,
Christ.
I'm literally, the Bible says you are dust. You're here one moment and then
very
you're gone.
interesting.
You're not anyone, bruh. You're
Who
not
are you?
That's
I
brilliant.
feel like
Yeah.
I feel like I'm opposite.
No, I hear you.
But I
there's a
think
place
that's
for that.
my insecurities are probably different to yours as
yes.
well.
My insecurity has been I need to make my presence known because that's what I came from. I was in HR. I didn't have to exert it. You know,
Yeah.
now it's
Yeah.
like, okay, it's panic because they're not seeing me, they're not hearing me. And it's like, why should they? You're nothing. Just do what you came here to do.
Yes, you're not.
Be the light
yes, you're
that
right.
you're
It's
supposed
our
to
pride.
be,
It's
and
us.
let go of this whole thing.
Yeah, we must like let go of our lives.
I hear you.
And this beautiful story, actually, I am in the context of a white church, where I feel
We're supposed
God's
to be
called me
concluding
to.
here, but yes,
But
really.
God gave me a word, and I had
Yeah.
to take it to the front. Ish, bruh, it's a lot.
Yeah, it
I went
is
to
a
the
lot.
front, and I gave that word, ne? And then they were like, no.
They let you. No, I'm joking.
No, they didn't. And then they're like, no, we'll just maybe or maybe not, but go sit. And it didn't look like my word was going to get heard. And I sat there, and then I remembered a scripture that celebrate the saints. There was one guy up, he was white, he was giving his word. And I went, oh, and it came from my heart. And it came from the Holy Spirit because it wasn't from my heart. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
looked at him and literally I went, yo, I celebrate you. Those are the words I
Amen.
said.
That's-
And then
you
as
see,
I
I
said
like
that,
that.
as
I
I
like
said
that.
that, the person looked back and he called me, as in,
Yeah.
come give your word.
Yeah.
So
I like that. It's not seeing people as the enemy. It's saying, you know what, you are the image of
Yes.
God. And I
Yeah.
see you. Because that's what we want. We want to
Yes.
be seen. We
Yeah.
feel unseen. So, hey, you know what? I
Yeah.
see you.
yes, and we fight evil with good.
Yes.
And I think
Oh, yes, yeah,
and I
yeah.
think for the longest
That's
time,
Romans.
like I haven't been fighting evil with good, but God gives us a strategy. He gives
He
us a
does.
solution that do these things, guys, and my word will be done. My work will be done.
Yeah.
You know, you don't fear. Do not be
Yeah.
fearful. And
Yeah, that's Romans 12:21. Don't let evil conquer you, but conquer evil by doing good.
and that's our stance.
Yeah.
As that's our fight.
Yeah.
Sure. And
Amen.
even that first part, don't let evil conquer you, because it can. Because these things hurt.
They hurt. So then
Because
emotions-
you're always the one extending. It feels like you're always the one.
Yes.
And then it doesn't come back. And you're like,
And then you walk
just
away
why
embarrassed.
aren't you? Do it back.
Exactly.
Just be nice back.
Just be nice back. But yes, like don't let it conquer you. And that's hard. That's something that you have to train your mind, your body, everything. And I think that's what is missing in a lot of the positive talk. Like, yeah, think positive thoughts but it's like, what are the practical steps to actually changing your mindset and the way that you respond? But I think that's a conversation for a different day.
Yeah.
I think today we introduced the podcast. This is who we are.
Yeah.
We have serious moments. We have joking moments. I'm the main jokester. Guys, like I can be so not serious when people are being serious, so please forgive me. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. It's been great, and we're excited for what the journey holds.
Yeah.
With the next episodes.
Yeah.
All right.
See you in the next episode.
Bye.
Coconuts.
And we don't hate white people. I
No,
promise.
absolutely not.
All black people.
Absolutely
All
not.
people of different
We love
stages.
everybody. We're just
Yes.
sharing our experiences and stories, okay? We're
It's
just looking
just-
for
that's it.
solutions.
Yeah. We
Okay.
should probably have a disclaimer, but anyway.
Yeah. Bye.